Phyllis Wheatley,
Mary Seacole,
Ellen Croft,
Anne Gilbert,
Anasua Saravai,
Lydia Maria Child,
Haley Gwyn Brown,
Brooke Mabai,
Anne Knight.
These are just a few of the 100 women's names from across the world whose lives have been explored and celebrated as part of the Speak Her Name project, all connected through stories of the cotton industry, resilience, sorrow, and extraordinary happenings. Lead artist Rachael started the project after realising the sheer amount of women's lives that are often overlooked.
As they came along to workshops and sessions, they selected an historic name to stitch in any way that they'd like. And then they started delving into that lady's life and finding connections that sometimes were so coincidental and mirrored their life, or they had a similar name, or there was something that they felt drawn to. And then getting those stories back and hearing them from some of the people that have stitched. There's just been some amazing ones and some that's very, very raw, very emotional. Some of the historic details have been very difficult to hear and to learn about. But I think, history can be difficult and it can be heart-wrenching, but it also can be joyful as we celebrate some of the amazing accomplishments of these women.
Ismail is a visual artist. He ran sessions teaching participants new art forms, looking into the Khadi and Swadeshi movements, relating to the cotton industry across South Asia, and art past and present.
Let's start with what does it mean, Swadeshi? Swadeshi means your own country, and the word came from Sanskrit. So when you say your own country, you're already connected with the people. The guy, the legendary leader Mahatma Gandhi, he came up with an idea of Swadeshi movement means produce your own product. So what will happen after you producing your own product means it will help you to be self-independent. So those time we used to use lots of foreign products. The first movement was Swadeshi movement that we kind of get rid of through this movement, and we use our own product. Every single corner, every single village of the country, everybody used to use their own product. They was boycotting foreign products. So it's not only improve the day-to-day life, but also help to be self-independent financially, as well as if you think about art and culture, every single corner of the country, they're producing their own materials. So an example, own color, own cotton as a canvas. So it was really great challenge and great movement and great space for everyone to connect with each other.
I'd sat in on one of Ismail's workshops and we were all painting and things, and he started talking about the Swadeshi movement, and this lady just said, I know about that, and then she just burst into song, and she sat and sang this whole song in her mother tongue, and it was so moving, and we all just sat quietly, listened, and it's things like that you can't plan for, when you're writing what you're going to do and how you're going to deliver it. Sometimes the unexpected comes.
अब रैन कहाँ जो सोवत है, जो सोवत है सो खोवत है, जो जागत है सो पावत है, उठ नींद से अखियाँ खोल जरा. This song has a deep meaning. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. That was the main principle of Gandhi. And moreover, he wanted to just convey that never postpone any work, never delay any work. Do what you want just today, because tomorrow nobody has seen.
One of the women Speak Her Name celebrated and created art around in relation to the Swadeshi movement is Sarala Devi Chowdhury, who was well ahead of her time. Sarala established Lakshmi Bandar, a store in Calcutta, India, which popularised native handicrafts produced by Indian women. This was in 1904, even before the Bengal partition. A name that stood out to Ismail in particular is Begum Rokeya, who he even named his daughter after.
But one of the ladies called Begum Rokhaya Sakhwat, so she's one of the pioneer lady in Bangladesh, who when the first lady in the country went to the university. And those times no one used to go to university because women don't have no right, no freedom. So her husband was king. He was helping her to go to the university. Through her, the whole nation become more educated now, especially women. And her poetry, her literature is very, very unique. But what I like about her is the way she inspired the whole generation, especially women in Bangladesh and Southeast Asia, is incredible.
Another art form explored within Speak Her Name was poetry.
What's been incredible is the range of art forms that we've used and the different practitioners. And for myself as an artist, it's just amazing when I get to collaborate with amazing artists. And poetry is something quite new to me, so it was wonderful to kind of get that feeling of power and joy when we were helping Quentin with the recital of his piece.
3, 2. Who do I turn to when I see injustice? What do I do when my people are being persecuted? When will I be freed from my overseer? Where do I begin to trace my roots if I was uprooted? How do I begin to get dressed after being violated? Why is this happening to me? Does anybody know my name?
Artist Anisha was another key element within the Speak Her Name project. Coming from a long line of tailors, she felt a deep connection to her roots, actually using cloth from her parents' business today in the hoops used within the exhibition. Some are adorned with laser-cut elements, which is one of Anisha's specialities as a creator.
Both sides of my families were known as, I guess you can say it's a caste, but our job titles historically were called Darji, and Darji means tailor. So my grandfathers, my great-grandfathers, when they immigrated from India, they were tailors. From India to East Africa, they were tailors in East Africa. They had their own businesses on both sides. And then when they came to the UK, they were also tailors. It really made me think of my own family's migrant journey and how cloth was innate for their survival. Because that migrant route from India to East Africa and then to the UK, it was an established route, but that's because of colonisation. The British took indentured labourers from India to East Africa to work on the British railways. My family didn't necessarily do that, but that's how that migrant route was established. It was almost forced migration, and because of that, a lot of my ancestors went to East Africa. And then around the time, especially my mum in Uganda, Idi Amin became, the president of Uganda. He exiled a lot of Asians, and that's how my family became displaced and then came to the UK to set up once again. So I think in this cloth, just like that story of cotton that Rachel's been exploring, there's obviously very different stories, but it shows resilience. And I think if there's anything I've learned is the resilience of my ancestors through this work, and the heartbreaking story of enslaved women, and how that conversation is starting to happen with working class women's stories in Britain. Again, I believe they're very different stories. I don't think there's a comparison there, but there's pain to be explored, and through that pain builds resilience in women like us, and then we can explore that through this project.
Rachel also took inspiration from her own family history.
Cotton runs quite deep in my family ancestry, and I can find people within various different industries. But I think what this project has given me is a better understanding of their life and what they would be doing, and the machines that they would be working with, the sheer noise that was in those spaces, the conditions that they worked in. Unfortunately, not all of the siblings of my great-great-grandmother who went in the cotton mills survived into adulthood. Some died of cotton lung, which was a common killer of mill workers. But it's really given me a better understanding of them.
Speak Her Name stands to represent the women we aren't taught about at school. The history explored in the project is full of both darkness and light, but sharing the horrors of our yesterdays is what keeps society from repeating those actions again today. So if you just take one thing away from this project, talk about those women, speak her name.